Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi yassir li wa la tu'assir. Rabbi tammim bil khair. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you very much for coming. And sorry for the holiday last month. I had something else to do. I was traveling. Today, I think last time we did social manners, which was a very long chapter, and I was told to break it up into two after the end of the chapter. So, and then we did manners of eating. Today, very short one, weddings. Weddings, right? So, because it is very short, we shall finish early, I think. Now, marriage, as you know, is something that is very important. It is something that the Prophet ﷺ has made it very clear that it is part and parcel of Islam, and it is very important because someone who gets married is fulfilling half of the deen. Is fulfilling half of the deen. So the other half just maintain. Right? You know what I mean by the other half. So, but when you talk about marriage being half the deen, it does not mean that it is the akad nikah. It's the responsibility of being married, right, as a husband and as a wife, as well as the relationship, as well as, you know, the responsibilities and accountabilities and so on and so forth. Because marriage itself is a contract. It's a contract between two parties. When it is a contract between two parties, any intervention into the two parties is something that is not allowed. Right? Once you contract with two parties, right, then no other third party should come into the contract. So that's the point. Yeah? So, but that does not mean that you terminate. I mean, once you have a contract with one person, then you cannot have another contract. You can have other contracts. But every time you have a contract, it is a contract between two parties, right? And only those two parties, right, are supposed to be interacting with each other. You know, no intervention, nothing should come in between, or nobody else should come in between to disturb the harmony of the marriage. That's what it is. Okay. So it is a form of worship, as we know. It is a form of worship. Therefore, so what I'm talking about is just the wedding ceremony. I'm not touching the relationships, right? Because that's what the book says, so I follow the book. But if you want to talk about the relationship, then it will be much more, right? So we're talking about the wedding celebration itself. Okay? So weddings are part of the Prophet ﷺ's tradition, right? In fact, he says that if you are not married, you are not part of me. You know, if you don't want to get married, you are not part of me. Right? So, if invited, you should accept and attend, unless it includes prohibited acts. Prohibited acts like drinking or mixing of sexes and so on and so forth. Right? So, anything that is prohibited act, you may excuse yourself. But otherwise, it is incumbent upon you to attend. You cannot just give excuses. So that's number one. Secondly, attending a wedding is part of the sunnah. Because the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to participate in the wedding ceremony. Why? Because Islam regards marriage as a form of worship. So if it is a form of worship, then your presence itself is partaking into another form of worship. Right? So there is ajr, there is reward. for attending a wedding. It's not a small reward, it's a big reward. Just like visiting the sick is a very big reward, right? Accompanying the dead is also a very big reward. So is attending a wedding is a very big reward. Okay? The other one is Islam endorses performing marriage in the mosque. It endorses performing marriage in the mosque, and not be in the house alone. Based on the hadith by At-Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah, it says, publicize the marriage, execute it at the mosque, and celebrate it with drums. This is the hadith. Publicize the marriage, execute it at the mosque, and celebrate it with drums. Right? So we see that marriage is something that is a happy occasion. Right? So you should not conceal a marriage. You should publicize it so that everybody knows that so and so is married to so and so. Right? And if you do not celebrate it, right, then it looks like you are not participating in a happy occasion. When there is a happy occasion, you should participate in it. You should participate in the happiness of the person, of the couple. Right? The other hadith by Imam Ahmad, Al-Hakim and others, it says, very short hadith, publicize the marriage. Just publicize the marriage. Right? So that's another hadith. The third hadith says, another hadith by Imam Ahmad, Tirmidhi, An-Nasai and Ibn Majah. It's very interesting hadith. The difference between a legitimate, that is halal, and an illegitimate or haram marriage is the presence of voices and drums. In other words, if the marriage celebration is very quiet, right? You do not really want to publicize it, right? It looks like it is illegitimate. But when somebody conducts a celebration of a marriage and make it a big affair, right? You celebrate it, you make lots of noise, you sing songs, you beat drums and so on. That is good. So the difference between illegitimate and legitimate marriage, according to the hadith, is the voices and the drums. In other words, the singing of songs and so on. Right. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, one of the Sahaba, radiallahu anh, when he migrated to Makkah, right, he was also given one of the Ansar to be his pair. Right. And it was quite common for the Ansar who have more than one wife to ask his brother from the Muhajir to take one of his wives, and some happened. But in his particular case, when he was asked to take one of his wives, he said, no, I don't mind. Then he said, do you want some of my property so that you can start a life? He said, no. You just show me the market. You just show me where the marketplace is. So he went to the market and started trading. And he was very successful because he's a very good businessman. So he became very successful. One day, he was in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet saw his hand with henna. Dia pakai inai. The hand was with henna. So the Prophet asked him, is that the sign that you just got married? He said, yes. Then have a feast, at least by slaughtering one sheep. Have a feast, publicize your marriage, right? And have a feast at least with one sheep. Of course, he has more sheep, huh? Because he's very rich, right? So, in other words, the Prophet ﷺ is very, very concerned that a marriage must be completely publicized so that everybody knows. There is no more fitna. Because otherwise, when you walk together, there is a lot of fitna, right? So it sort of solves a lot of problems. That's why it is half the Islam, half the deen. using drums for women. There is no dispute among scholars that women can use drums and sing during wedding celebration. A lot of hadith about this, a lot of them, right? This is because the Prophet ﷺ was explicit in allowing and even encouraging women to celebrate weddings using drums and singing. But most of the hadith are regarding the woman, right? The Prophet encouraged the woman to sing and to beat drums and so on during the wedding celebration. But majority of the scholars feel that men can also use drums and sing to celebrate weddings, but not songs with lust, passion or immoral. Right? The songs must be appropriate. Right? The songs must be appropriate. The lyrics must be appropriate. Right? The whole idea of celebrating marriages to publicize and so on is to distinguish between evil and illicit relationship and a pure and desirable marriage. That is the whole idea. Right? So we do not look at it as something that is small. Right? Today, for example, wedding celebrations are becoming more and more sophisticated, more and more expensive too. You don't normally have wedding celebrations in houses because the houses are not fully air conditioned, it's very hot, I remember when I have wedding for my children, I used to have it in my house, so we used the road, as the place to entertain the guests and so on. It was very hot. So I had one friend whom I invited for the first wedding. When I invited him for the second wedding, he excused himself. He said, "No, I cannot come," because he knew it's very hot. No, I couldn't afford to have it in the hotel, maybe, but that's very, very, obvious. People don't like to go to houses anymore because it's not convenient. You must go to the hall, community center or something that is more convenient. And it become very expensive, And nowadays you find that in order to book the hall, it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes 9 months and so on. Right? And so you have to be completely prepared. So, but it's good. I think the people are following the tradition, and we should continue to support it. We are following the tradition fully, and we should fully support it. But there are certain things that I think we should not overdo. We should not overdo. I do not think that we should even take big loans to execute weddings. Shouldn't do that. But there are instances where people do that, which I don't think is right. And then they take their whole life to pay back. I remember meeting a driver in Saudi, in Jeddah. It's a Saudi fellow. He's a driver, right? So he traveled me every day. So after a while, I asked him things, and he said, why I have to work? Because I took a big loan to get married. And now I think it will take me 10 years to pay up the loan. So imagine, maybe in Saudi it's very expensive to get married. But I think we should not go for that. I don't think we should. Asking for very big dowry and all that, I don't think. Now it's becoming much more expensive, right? You don't talk about a few thousand anymore. They will say, my daughter is a graduate, my daughter is a medical doctor, my daughter is such and such. Don't say how much. Just my daughter is such and such. Then you have to think. And if you are afraid that you might not be successful in asking for the hand, then you have to up the price. Anyway, that's another problem, But anyway, I'm talking about the wedding celebration itself. So attending wedding is one of the rights of brotherhood among Muslims. It's one of the rights of brotherhood among Muslims. Why? Because it fulfills the publicity requirement. Because you can imagine if very few people attend, then the publicity is not very wide, right? Because you want to publicize to as many people as possible, and therefore you want as many people as possible to come, right? But if you have a small hall, and you cannot afford to invite too many people, then the publicity side is not completely fulfilled. And especially so when people don't attend. So it's very important that we attend, because at least we know that we are contributing towards increasing the publicity of that particular wedding. Number 2, it reinforces the need to attest to the sanctity of the marriage contract. In other words, we are witnessing a particular contract between two human beings, a wedding contract, a marriage contract. Right? We are part and parcel of witnessing it. Right? We are witnessing to it. Right? So that itself is has a reward. Number 3, it gives a chance for the guests to join the bride and groom as they complete the second half of the deen. They are completing half the deen. You are participating in rejoicing that entering into the second half of the deen, right? While you pray that they remain observant of the other half. Number 4, it also honors the couple by having their relatives and friends share in their happiness. It gives a lot of honor to the couples. Right? Couple becomes very happy because people come. Right? I think it's quite common that if you see a lot of empty tables, it's very frustrating. Yeah? Very frustrating to see empty tables. Yeah? We want to see full tables. Right? So in other words, the organizers or the wedding, the parents and the relatives of the couple would love to see as many people as possible attend. If you cannot attend, you have to tell them exactly why you cannot attend. Then it is also a blessing for the couple through the prayers of the guests who seek Allah's mercy to make them more righteous, more successful, more affluent, and more prosperous, inshallah. Yeah? So that's one part of it. The second part is the manners of attending weddings. There are manners to attend weddings. If invited, attend as if you have answered an invitation to a blessed occasion, to an occasion that is completely blessed and a delightful and acclaimed celebration. The Prophet ﷺ tells us so. In other words, if you are invited, you must feel that it is something that is blessed that you are going to. You are going to some place which is completely blessed. Right? If you have that feeling, right, I think the attendance or the way you attend, right, will be different. But if you feel, I'm obliged to go home, if he doesn't invite me, I'll be very happy. That's another different thing, right? In other words, if we feel that it is something that is a blessed occasion, a blessed event, right? If you go, you are actually getting the blessings from Allah. Right? So you go with a different intention. You go with a different mindset. Your mindset will be completely different. You'll be happy to go. You know that you are going to something that is good. It's not something that is bad. Right? And this is something that I think I myself learned. I'm learning. Because all this while, I never think that it is something that we should go celebrating a blessed occasion. We are actually going celebrating as blessed occasion. That's very important. So you should feel happy when people invite you. You should feel happy when people invite you. Right? You know, occasions or events that are full of blessings, right, are not attractive until you know about it. For example, I find people, I just came back from Umrah. I find people, a lot of people, they rush to make the ziyarah of the Prophet in Medina. They rush. Right? I was thinking, why do you have to rush? Why do you have to push people? You should not push people. In fact, there was a big signboard, in the mosque, in various languages, to say don't rush, don't push, and so on, when you want to make the ziyarah. Because they are actually doing it. When you rush, when you push people, you think you will get the blessing? No. You will lose the blessing. So when you go, you should be happy to go because it is something that is being blessed. When it is something that is being blessed, you must do it properly. Right? Just like when they rush to go into the Rawdah, same thing. When they rush to kiss the Hajar al-Aswad, right? I see a lot of people queuing up because I went at the time when there are few people being allowed to perform the Umrah. They have just opened. And most of the people are from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh. And you can imagine the pushing and a little bit from Australia, from Indonesia. From Malaysia, I think I'm 3 of us only. But they haven't opened for Malaysia yet. Right, so I went very early. And I found a lot of people queuing by the side of the Kaaba from Rukun Yamani, right? From Yamani to Hajar al-Aswad, that side, right? That wall. They were queuing up to kiss. But at the same time, people from the other side came and rushed in. So these people never move. They never move. When can their turn be coming? No. We know that it is being blessed. Why do you have to push and lose all the blessing? Why? Because we do not understand. We do not appreciate. If we understand, if we realize that it is something that is completely blessed, Allah is throwing down all the mercy unto you if you do it properly, if you do it well. It must come with good intention. You shouldn't just go because people rush, you also rush. No. So, the same thing, when you sit down in the first row or the second row, when you are earlier, right? When they come later, in the past, I remember, they push your head. You are 2 of them like that, they push one hand here, and then it cross. Like that. Where is the blessing? No blessing for them. And if you get angry, you also lose the blessing. So, what I'm trying to say is that if we realize that an event like the weddings are events that are being blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we should have the right mindset to actually attend with full, happiness. Right? You are very happy to go because you know that you will be blessed. Right? So that is number 1. Right? Secondly, dress properly. Even the companions of the Prophet ﷺ used to dress properly when they attend weddings. Not necessarily completely new dress or something, but must be proper attire. I think we do that well. Number 3, when initiating or sharing any discussion during the ceremony, make sure the conversation fits the happy occasion. Muslims should be wise and considerate, should not include depressing and distasteful subjects that may spoil the mood. I think we should avoid talking politics completely, because that's the worst topic. that will create all sorts of disrespect, right? And so on and so forth. Yeah? Avoid politics in weddings, because you will create a different mood altogether. Yeah? I can also give you a lot of jokes on that, but not at this moment. Yeah? So do not spoil the mood. See the manner. Don't simply say anything you like, You must pick up topics that you are sure that it will not disrupt the occasion, the happiness in the occasion. You should congratulate the bride and groom which are being done. By reciting the hadith by Abu Dawud and Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah Al-Hakim, whereby the Prophet said, "May Allah bless your side and bless your counterpart." Bless yourself and bless your other half, and bless your counterpart, and may tie your union with virtue. This is the song that is being sung by Mahir Zain. Yeah? That's exactly the wordings that Mahir Zain has used, which came actually from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is that? Barakallahu lakuma wa baraka bainakuma wa jama'a bainakuma bil khair. Right? That is a very good dua that you should make. You should memorize this. I am sure a lot of children memorize this, and then you should use them. Barakallahu lakuma wa baraka bainakuma wa jama'a bainakuma bil khair. You can even sing about it. Yeah? So that's the best wish that you can wish. Okay? Do not include with comfort and children. Do not include in the dua with comfort and children. Why? Because this particular phrase comes from the Jahiliyyah. The Prophet prohibited us from using such phrase with comfort and children. Yeah? So, the Prophet prohibited such a saying, and Allah with His blessing replaced it by the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ, which I just read. Right? Al-Bukhari reported that Aisha radiallahu anha said, when the Prophet ﷺ married me, when the Prophet married Aisha, where did he marry Aisha? In Makkah or Medina? In Medina. Right? In Medina. My mother, that is Aisha's mother, led me into the house where women of Ansar were celebrating. They congratulated me with reward, blessing, and best of luck. No mention of children or anything. So that was what actually happened when Aisha married the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? Now, Islam permits women to celebrate a wedding by singing tasteful songs accompanied by a drum beat. No lust, lewdness, or portray physical beauty. Instead, they should sing delightful songs to express their happiness. Alright. So, here we don't really sing. Right? We don't sing. Very few people sing. There, the Prophet ﷺ used to see. Another hadith says, Al-Bukhari reported that Aisha radiallahu anha said, a bride was led to her Ansar husband. The Prophet, in fact, Aisha was the one who led the bride to the Ansar house. Okay? And the Prophet ﷺ said, "O Aisha, did you not have the merriments?" What is it? What the Prophet ﷺ said, because the Ansar love fun. They love fun, they love happiness. What was he referring to? He was referring to the singing and beating of drums. He even recommended to bring a good singer. He even recommended to bring a good singer to the occasion. Of course, the Arabs' traditional wedding is quite different from our wedding. Our wedding, normally both the man and the woman come together in the same party, right? Whereas for the Arabs, it's only the woman that actually attend the party, and the men are only the family of the groom. The rest, no men. The nikah is only attended by the man. And maybe the woman will be the family of the groom. Right? Whereas the actual celebration is attended by only the woman. That is why the Prophet ﷺ recommended a woman singer, right? And the drums, right? To be accompanying the celebration so that they are very happy. So we know of this hadith, but this does not mean that we should actually apply it when our condition is very different. Our condition is when we invite people, we invite everybody, both the man and the woman, right? So we cannot allow the woman singer to sing in such an occasion where there is mixed audience. It's only the woman is fine. But if it is mixed audience, you cannot allow the woman to sing. Now the man okay, but not the woman. Right? So don't just follow the hadith without thinking of the context. Right? So I want to remind you that. Then don't quote me to say the Prophet said, bring woman singer to the wedding. You must understand the woman singer is recommended by the Prophet in a ceremony where only the woman attend, no man. Okay. So he recommends that. In terms of relationship, as I said, I'm not touching, but just to remind you that relationship is very important, right? In most cases, the woman is always in control, right, in the house. So there was a story about a king. In his kingdom, he controls everything. He appoints the prime minister, he appoints the cabinet minister, he even appoints the parliamentarians. But every time he wants to make an important decision, he has to consult his consort. So one day he realized, I'm the king, she's just the queen. Why do I have to ask her all the time? So he called his prime minister. What about you? The prime minister, knowing that he is being appointed by the king, he said, I'm like you too. So the king was not happy and he said, bring all the cabinet ministers. So all the cabinet ministers came and he told them that every time I make a decision, I have to consult my consort, my queen. How about you all? They also know that if they don't do as the king does, they might lose their job. So they say, well, we are also like you. So he was very unhappy. So he said, bring all the male citizens to the palace grounds on Sunday. So one Sunday morning, all the male citizens in the country came. And then he said, all those people who follow their wives, go to the right. So everybody moved except one. And this man is the thinnest of them all. Very thin fellow. So he called him, you must be very strong, despite being so thin. Because you are the only one who doesn't listen to your wife. Sire, before I came, my wife told me, go there and stand in one place. Don't move. Don't move. So he is the worst. There was an Indian temple, in London. They have weekly meetings, right, among the members, and they talk about various things. One day they were talking about married life, and there was a very old man, over 70 years old, and they asked him, how long have you been married? He said, oh, I've been married with the same woman for the last 50 years. Very good. How do you maintain that relationship for 50 years, with the same woman. Oh, when she wants curry, I give her curry. When she wants sari, I give her sari. On the 25th anniversary, we went for a holiday in Chennai, in India. Oh. So what do you plan to do during your 50th anniversary? My 50th anniversary, I'm going to Chennai to collect her. So there was these 3 guys who were discussing in the office. One of them said, I'm in control in the house. But the other 2 said, no, I don't believe you. No, I can prove to you. Okay, go and do it. Go and tell your wife that you're in control. So he went back. The next morning he came and said, how did it go? Oh, she was on her force. In other words, she was crawling on her feet. Oh, how did you do it? Where were you? I was hiding under the bed. There was a young man who was about to get married. So he wanted to learn about the experience of a married life. So he told his friend, a married man, about it. So the married man said, why don't you come to my house? So he visited him about evening. And the husband never informed the wife that he was bringing his friend. So then he said, when they arrived, the wife was shocked. How come you bring a guest without informing me beforehand? I'm not ready. I haven't taken out the chicken out of the freezer to thaw it, to cook. I haven't got the vegetables washed. I haven't got even the bed done. I haven't even taken my bath, and so on and so forth. Why you do this to me? So she was screaming against him. And finally she said, why did you ask him to come? Because you want to learn firsthand how married life is. He's about to get married, and he gave up. And this last story, because I said we'll finish early, 15 minutes early. This last story has 4 series. The first series is about the wife, or about the husband complaining against the wife who is habitually making drinks for him. Sometimes she makes Milo, sometimes she makes coffee, sometimes she makes tea, and every time she makes something, the husband was never satisfied. And so the husband complained, how come when you make coffee, sometimes it is very hot, sometimes it is very cold, and there is no sugar, sometimes too sweet, sometimes very bitter. Similarly, the tea is the same, the Milo is the same, Why do you do this? So she said, who makes the drink, you or me? So it's up to me to make it. How I want to make it is up to me. You better just drink. Oh, okay. So that's series number 1. Series number 2, the husband taking revenge against the wife. So when he was driving, sometimes he drives very fast, sometimes he drives very slowly. Although there is no car at all, he goes very slowly. And then sometimes he jams the brake, and the wife got her head knocked against the glass. So the wife complained, why you drive like this? Sometimes slow, sometimes fast, and I knock my head against the glass and so on. Who is driving? You or me? Okay. So that's number 2. Series number 4, of course number 2. Series number 4. No, number 3. Who tells the story? I or you? So that's it. Wallahu alam. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.